Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we assemble to explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. In this, our 6th season, we are looking at the Avengers. I'm Andy Nelson from the TruStory FM Entertainment Podcast Network.
And I'm Pete Wright, and Soundgarden is over!
Oh, my goodness. We are entering our last week of regular episodes for this show. Today, we're talking about minute 141, which begins with the 34 Lighting TDs shader writers at Weta Digital, and ends with the first 6 of the visual effects thanks. Joining us on the show today, our very own Steve Sarmento is back. Hello, Steve.
Hey, it's great to be here.
It's been a while since we chatted with you, so we are thrilled to have some credits to talk about with you.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to talk about credits.
Oh, who wouldn't be, really? These were the minutes that everybody fought over, and only the lucky few got to pick these. But we're talking about minute 141. This, we're continuing our visual effects, really. I mean, that's the bulk. In fact, that's the entirety of this minute. We start off with Weta Digital, which we started in our last minute. There are 462 total at Weta Digital. We only see the end of them here. And that's when we finally get to end the damn Soundgarden song, which has been plaguing us since really the end of 136. So good 5 minutes. We get into hydraulics, which I just love the way that they type out their name. It's fantastic. 61 people there, 49 people at Digital Domain, 12 people at Cantina Creative, 45 people at Luma Pictures, 37 at Fuel VFX, 29 at Evil Eye Pictures, 34 at Trickster, 36 at the third floor. Additional visual effects by Lola VFX, Modus VFX, Whiskey Tree, and Perception. And then the thanks to, and we'll get some of those today, some of those tomorrow. That's really what we have this minute. Any particular notes from any of you before we get into our picks, as before we've been picking one person each to talk about?
I have no notes, Andy. I just have a massive error in my own pick.
Oh, the way you said that, you made me nervous that suddenly you ran into sound issues and we were going to have to start over again or something.
No, you're fine. We're fine. Everybody's fine.
The only sound issue is that Soundgarden ended. That's
Yes,
the sound issue.
That was the sound issue, and it was fine.
Just talking about Soundgarden, Steve, did you grow up with Soundgarden? Kind of like, were they kind of in your mix of things from the early 90s? Was it ever something that you listened to?
Yes. Oh, yeah, totally. The Super Unknown album was really big. That was the whole grunge thing breaking out all across the country. So, yes, Soundgarden was definitely in heavy rotation. Black Hole Sun. Oh, yes.
Do you still listen to them, or is Black Hole Sun the only song you know of theirs?
Not as much, because I'm not an angry young man anymore. So I've mellowed out. I don't need the angry grunge as much anymore.
Gotcha.
I just don't need the angry grunge has run out its terms of service.
Yes, it has. I've unsubscribed.
That's got to be hard for the people who are like the performers of that angry music, because at some point you think that they stop being angry and they settle into midlife and they're just like, well, I'm not so angry anymore.
They become grumpy. Then they become grumpy old men. So it's different things to be grumpy about.
I haven't listened to the modern Soundgarden. Is that the transition that they have made? Are they in grumpy old men zone now?
I don't know. Probably.
Hey, again, I didn't bring this up on the show when we were just recorded, but if Soundgarden is grumpy old men, what is Gwar on Tiny Desk concert? Yeah, see, Steve knows. Steve knows. I knew Steve would be able to play the NPR game.
Oh, no, I played the Gwar game too.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, geez. I can't imagine. That's the Tiny Desk drenched in blood.
Yeah, that's, pretty much. Yeah. It's hysterical. Wow. You don't want to get so close to those masks.
No.
You need to have the distance. Anyway, let's talk about effects. Speaking of creature effects.
Speaking of. We each picked one person. Who would like to kick things off?
Steve would.
Steve.
Yes, I will, because Andy sort of challenged me with this of, go pick a name. I looked at everything. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. There's just name after, go find somebody in IMDb. Okay. And I got lucky. I was strategic and thought, okay, let me pick somebody that's got to be a supervisor or something. I ended up stumbling across the Strause brothers, Greg and Colin, with hydraulics that you mentioned before. And what was really fortuitous was they're from the Chicago suburbs, which is where I'm from. They're from Waukegan. which is not too far from where I grew up. And they, as young men, moved out to LA and started, working in the visual effects. And I was really impressed that they're still continuing to work and some big movies, and actually co-directed an Alien movie. So they've Alien versus Predator, Requiem, is that they directed as the brothers Strause. So they're continuing to work really well as these brothers, with Hydraulics doing movies like San Andreas, Rampage. They've done several of the Dwayne Johnson movies. So yeah, I was really surprised that picking a name out of the credits like that and stumbling across two men that have really carved out a spot for themselves in the visual effects industry out there. I saw that particularly the Hydraulics worked on the effects in the opening sequence of the film. So I had to go back and revisit that, all the, with the cube and the all of that stuff going on, and see their work.
Yeah. Project Pegasus,
Yes.
Nice.
That's interesting.
I see that they also worked a little bit on Stranger Things, which is cool.
Yes.
A lot of the creature design and stuff for that one. Very fun. And again, I just love the way they type their name, because it's in brackets, and then it's like HY asterisk DRAU apostrophe LX.
Yes.
Or quotation mark, really. It's the double apostrophe. So it's fantastic, and it's a cool company. And I'm just looking at their website right now. They do a lot of amazing things. They're definitely very busy. Very busy.
A lot of work in the X-Men films. I mean, again, staying in the superhero realm. I mean, yeah, I was really surprised, because I see a lot of these small firms will do like a little project here or there, and then maybe don't make it. But they've continued to work on a lot of these big films, and continuing to work, have several things that are sort of in progress right now. And I think given the, sort of current environment on visual effects companies, it's great to see guys that are managing to keep their head above water.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's a great minute to just with everything going on in the industry right now. Certainly there's the strike with the, WGA and SAG-AFTRA, but, there's been a lot of talk lately just about how much work these visual effects people do, and how they don't have a union. And, a lot of people are in that industry really feel that they should, because they are used and abused. And, I always go back to the team that won the Oscar for Life of Pi, and that was like right after the company had declared bankruptcy. It's like, they put so much work into this stuff to accomplish what the directors want and the filmmakers want. And oftentimes they're working on whatever they've quoted, and sometimes it's just breaking the bank. And it's an industry that really could use a little more control. And so it's a good set of minutes to kind of give kudos to all these people.
Yeah.
Does that mean, are you next? Do you want me to go next?
Do you want me to go
first?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
We are talking about effects. I ended up going with another person who is in the effects realm, but I did not go big like you did. I love, that you went to some people who ended up with a whole bunch of stuff. I picked somebody who was a little more buried deep in there, and this was just somebody who was on the VFX crew for Luma Pictures. The person I ended up picking was Joel Gerlach, or Gerlach. I'm not exactly sure how he says his last name. But like you, I happened upon somebody who actually had quite a bit of information, and is kind of exciting to read about Joel. Joel kind of reminded me of Doogie Howser. He's one of those people who finished high school when he was 16 and jumped into college, and he graduated college when he was 18. With an associate's degree, and then got a Bachelor of Science, and with an emphasis in visual effects, moved to LA when he was 18 and started working at the age of 20 at Luma Pictures. So he was a VFX artist when most people were still in college. And so it's amazing, he plowed through that stuff so quick and started working there. And then 2 years later, this is after, obviously, Avengers, because he was working at Luma Pictures when he worked on this. 2 years later, he left to start his own VFX house, Studio 229, and that is what he is doing now. And he's got his Vimeo page and everything. And Pete, he lives up by you. He's in Eugene.
Eugene, Oregon. Is that... Oh, okay. You said Eugene, and I thought, do I need to correct your emphasis, putting it on the right syllable? I got real nervous.
What, do you say Eugene?
You say Eugene.
Oh, I was excited. He lives in Eugene. I don't know. Anyway, he lives in Eugene.
Yeah, he lives in Eugene.
Yes.
Outstanding.
Anyway,
he must be a hippie.
He's got he's got a little bit of that scruff. His website, his name is joel.com. You can you can check out what he is up to these days as a creative director. It looks like he's largely kind of stepped away from film projects and has been doing a lot of other different types of work. And it's just kind of exciting to see. As it says on his website, my name is Joel. I direct with a passion. I lead with compelling creativity. I excel at finding technical solutions. I craft memorable content that stands out. I love being part of a team. So that is Joel Gerlach, whatever his last name is.
From Eugene.
From Eugene.
Eugene. I think that's great. And I have one from Weta Digital. That's my pick. It's my turn now. And my problem is that I searched in proximity to the Weta creature designers. I wanted to talk about somebody who did creature work. And where I panicked was I started scrolling through the minute through all the Weta credits, and I can't find this person in the credits. But this person is all over the place, and in fact is credited as lead creature designer, right? Lead creature technical director. So either I happen to pick a minute in which this person is not listed with creatures, and I'm going with it anyway, or they forgot somebody. But it's not like we haven't seen, errors in credits before. So who knows? It's probably them. So I picked a guy named Mike Corcoran. Mike was at Weta as a lead creature technical director and has some fantastic credits because Weta does great stuff. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, The Adventures of Tintin, The Avengers. And let me just tell you, I'm on Mike's LinkedIn page to get all of Mike's stuff. And so this was just what was going on when he was there for 4 years and 1 month. Thank you, LinkedIn. Prometheus, Creatures Department, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, Iron Man 3, Man of Steel, and also lighting technical director on The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. But the reason I got so excited about Mike Corcoran is that his very first credit was creature developer at Industrial Light and Magic. And under that umbrella title from 1995 to 2000, guess what his first credit is from 1996? Anybody related to
creatures?
A series we've done on the next reel.
In 96. And is something with creatures.
Well, technically, according to his LinkedIn profile, his title was creature developer, but the specific credit was CG resource assistant.
Ooh, CG resource assistant. In 96. I mean,
96.
That would be something. Oh, Independence Day?
You're right. Mission Impossible. I was trying to go a little bit more recency bias.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You guys played really well. Don't worry about it. You're great. First 4 credits at ILM were Mission Impossible, Eraser, Daylight, and The Lost World Jurassic Park. Moved into the Star Wars universe and Mighty Joe Young for the prequels, was on the prequels team. Moved through DreamWorks, then to Weta Digital, then back to ILM, then over to Image Movers, then back to Weta Digital, then back to ILM for a number of years, and is currently Principal Solutions Architect and Head of Research for Creature Technology at DNEG, Digital Negative. Isn't that interesting? What an interesting career path, Mike Corcoran. I think it would be fun to be the head of research of digital creatures.
That's very fun. But it does make me wonder, was that a lot of work on Chitauri, you think?
That's exactly what I was wondering. In terms of creatures, it could have been. We might have found somebody whose hands were dirty with the blood of the Leviathan sea cows.
I wonder if Mike Corcoran was involved in deciding to blow up the Leviathan's eyeball.
I wonder if Mike Corcoran is eyeball pop.
Oh, that's crazy if we found the
I
person.
guess we'll never know.
Mike,
I don't know. You reach out on LinkedIn, see what Mike's been up
That's right.
to, ask him about the eyeball.
Did you pop the Leviathan eyeball asking for a podcast?
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. And, I do wonder, because I know we did have like some, earlier in the credits, I know we had some people who were credited with just kind of general effects who seemed to just be involved in the film, not necessarily at a company. And I believe we had some suit people. I can't remember if we had any specific creature people at that
I don't
point.
think we did. The suits were all ILM.
I don't think they were all ILM. I think there was also some other ones.
Marvel.
Like Legacy
Yeah.
Effects did some of the suits too.
Right.
So, but it does make me wonder where would Mike actually be credited in the film?
Yeah.
Somewhere, hopefully. Sounds important.
So with apologies to minute 141, Mike Corcoran maybe should have been here.
That's right.
Only because there are the problem is that there are all the other lead positions for Weta, like lead texture artist, lead shader writers, animation leads, lighting leads, creature lead, Aaron Hawley, but we just don't have the lead creature technical director. It just felt like they should be there. So maybe this is an aspirational pick.
Well, as you've pointed out, we had some ILM people credited at the end of a different production company. So it's like, it seemed a little screwy with kind of the run and gun way that these credits were thrown together. So it's entirely possible Mike is just somewhere else entirely.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Really interesting people. I mean, I think all of these people are interesting. And again, the effects, I think, largely for this film hold up pretty well. And I think it's a challenging industry. And we're talking about a film that's 11 years old now. I think for the most part, it still holds up. I mean, there are a few things that, a little wonky, but largely, I think, considering how many effects that they had to put into the film, I think they did a really good job with this one.
No, it was nice going back and revisiting the beginning to look at that opening sequence that the brothers Strause worked on, and this really holds up, and really digging into their story made me really think about the role that all these visual effects people have of having to create something and rely on their skills and knowledge, but also make it cohesive within the larger film of what amount of autonomy and creativity they have versus, it's got to look like this, and sort of that balance of you have to do your own work, but it's got to be, seamless with the look of everything else. And that's a tremendous amount of, work to be coming up with ideas, but be consistent across the board. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to get me to think about all those names. I like to sit and watch them scroll by, but I never really think about what's that day to day like and what's their contribution to the film, because as we see more and more visual effects, in movies or the visual effects we don't even notice in movies nowadays, it's really a testament to all of these people and the hours and hours they put in and bringing their skill set and doing the magic that's not noticeable most of the time.
Yeah, and it's interesting, all the work they did at the beginning, and then I was looking at the reel on their website as you were talking, and I saw that they also did the shot at the end of the movie when it's Thor and Loki, and they've got the little Tesseract device between the two of them, and they use it to beam back to Asgard, and just the simplicity of that shot, it's interesting to see it and realize, oh yeah, of course they would have filmed Loki and Thor separately, and so you've just got the actors on this in the circle with an empty space between them, and then of course Thor and Loki are modeled in to kind of so they can disappear. It's cool to see the way that they're putting all this together.
Totally.
And it's the decisions, does it make more sense to film without them in it or to film with them in it and remove them,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Well, it has been a fun minute chatting with you, Steve. Any last notes with anything going on in this section of the film?
So many names.
So many names.
No, so many people. I mean, that's really the thing. It's, a lot of people get up and walk out of the credits, and it's really, we're talking about the writers and the actors, strike, but it is really, so many people that their livelihoods are at stake on these things, and so much work they do, and so much of it that they're not the big names that get all the credit for the movies, but these movies would not be what they are without all of them and all the work they do, because it's when it looks good, when it works, nobody notices. But when it doesn't look good, the Flash, you hear about it all over the place, and so it's like this no-win situation. You never get the glory, but if something goes wrong, you're the first ones whose name's going to be dragged through the mud. So I know, hats off to the visual effects people.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. We haven't really talked. Last time we chatted with you, we didn't really have a chance. I mean, what do you think of the film in general? Do you like this film in context of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, there's some things that don't. I think overall, with some distance, there was something to be said for this phase and early Marvel, and how just being in the moment of everything, of like, it's like reading the comic books as an issue comes out, just that momentum of the story, what's going to happen. And then in hindsight, a lot of that energy isn't quite as there. It's still fun. It's still a good ride. Watching this, I think pacing, moving things along, held up. It's still enjoyable, but it just doesn't have that same magic that, oh my gosh, it's the first time the team's getting together. What is that going to be like? That anticipation, seeing everybody come together. But it was nice coming back to it after a gap to see just, and thinking about the fact that, oh, this is the first time we're seeing, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Those types of things. There's still a little bit of, I don't know, nostalgic, freshness to it. That's rewarding after being away from it for a while.
Well, it is a fun one. We have a couple more minutes to talk about, but Steve, thank you so much for joining us today to close out the movie. We've got minute 141 here, 2 more minutes to go. We certainly appreciate you being a part of it.
Always a pleasure talking with you guys.
That's it for today. Pete will be back tomorrow with JJ to talk about minute 142. So thanks as always.
I'm excited about tomorrow, Andy, because I think we're going to be talking about the incredible artists who make these movies 3D, which we don't like watching.
Until next time, true believers.
Marvel Movie Minute is a production of TruStory FM, engineering by Andy Nelson. This season's music is Message to the World by Anthony Vega, and this season's show art is by Winston Yabo. Find the show at trustory.fm. If your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, please consider doing that for our show.